Welcome to Chaturlocal. In this video, I'm going to tell you how you can use the Chaturlocal visitors and queue management system. This system enables and ensures safety in a crowd. You may have different kinds of businesses, and you may be a well-known hospital, a doctor, or a clinic. You may be running your office, factory, or a school. You are maybe a neighborhood store, a supermarket, and a restaurant. You may be a government or a public office. You may be in public administration. You may be any kind of business where there's a lot of footfall. A lot of people come in and go out. A lot of people have to wait. And because of the crowd, it becomes very difficult to manage a crowd in India. And there is also the challenge of social distancing. For example, people they try to break a queue and they try to get things done very, very quickly. And waiting in a queue is not very, very disciplined. People always want to rush and cram. In the meantime, there is people-to-people contact, and it can be very risky, especially in the current COVID environment. And sometimes, even when things are good and very well disciplined, you got to wait for a long time in an open queue, and it can be irritating. It can be very troublesome for a person who's going through this experience. The benefits of using a system like the Chaturlocal Queue Management is that there's a stress-free waiting experience, and there's minimal citizen-to-citizen contact. There are lower chances of infection spreading. And for example, if you had to make infrastructure for about 30 or 40 people to sit down, you may not need to create that infrastructure. So there is so much of saving in capital expenditure because you need to make arrangements for lesser number of people to sit down. Then there is the optimal use of the citizen's time. The person who's waiting, he can use his time well if he adopts this system. And what is more is that if we adopt a system, we also have the detailed history of everyone, of all the kind of footfall that has happened inside the system. So what are the system requirements for implementing such a system? It's very simple. You need an Android phone with an active SIM, a web camera, whether it is plug-in, plug-and-play, or inbuilt in your device is only optional. You may or may not use it. You need a PC or a laptop or a tablet or a mobile phone. A print function is optional. You may or may not need it. The system works, it's browser-based as well as app-based, but what you definitely need is a stable internet connection. The Chaturlocal Queue Management System is a cloud-based solution, and that can be set up and be ready to use in as little as 15 minutes. So let me show you how this works. So let us assume that I'm sitting at the desk of a clinic or a doctor or a hospital where patients are going to come in large numbers. So let us say a patient walks in, and at the desk, we inform the patient, please call a particular number which we configure in the system. So now let's say the patient is asked to call this number. As the patient calls the number, you look at this area, you will find as the patient calls, the patient's number reflects on the system. So if you notice, the name of the patient also comes along, and the details of the patient would also come if the patient has already been a visitor here earlier and has been part of the system. Otherwise, in this area, you can just key in the patient's particulars for just one instance. Afterwards, for every repeat visit, the details get auto-populated. Now let us say, what is the purpose? The purpose probably is for, in this instance, is for a regular monthly check. And the patient has come with, say, 2 people, and to meet, let us say, Dr. Raghav. Okay, and the description here again, you can say regular monthly check. Now, the moment this happens, you notice, there's a small feature here saying send queue SMS. When this is checked and we save this, what happens? The patient sequence is generated. It says sequence number 34 added to the queue. If you look at, at sequence number 34, this entry actually comes in. And if you check the patient, he would receive a message something like this. Dear Kirti Simha, welcome to Chaturlocal Clinic. You are number 34 in waiting, powered by Chaturlocal. So what you noticed, that a patient came in and now the patient automatically knows that he's number 34 in waiting and there are 33 people before him. Now what happens? It may take an hour, it may take an hour and a half, it may take two. There would be some kind of a setting where the patient would get to know when they come. You see there's a setting here. Notify the visitor when the sequence number is 3. So what happens as the various people leave the queue, the moment a patient comes in, the moment they come to sequence number 3, they would get another message. For example, I have now set this to sequence number 33. And let us assume that someone at this number 28, the visitor at number 28, he is leaving. The moment we close this record, what happens is that the visitor at 33, at 34 becomes sequence number 33 and a message is sent to that visitor. The message would read something like this. Dear Kirti Simha, you are approaching your turn. Please make yourself available. So what happens? It's so convenient. When the patient walked in, he was at number 34 and then he could just go about doing his own work. The moment his turn arrived, he got another message saying, please make yourself available. You're approaching your turn. So what we have seen is that you can manage a list of people who come in here, and all the people, they need not come and wait. As their turn comes, they would get a message, and you could trigger a message by notifying them. And just in case someone has to be notified out of turn, all you need to do is just pick out their number, pick them out from the screen and click this notify button, and even out of turn, they would end up being notified. So the Chaturlocal Queue Management System is a very, very simple system which manages a queue, which helps the people waiting in a queue have a very, very good experience. It can be used in restaurants, it can be used in clinics, it can be used at any place where there is waiting. So to summarize, it's a simple cloud-based solution that can be set up and be ready to use in as little as 15 minutes. And if you want to know more, you can just give us a missed call at 8277025281 or email us at sales@chaturlocal.com. Thank you for watching.